Well, hey guys, welcome back to Waters Family Homestead. Well, I finished cutting the grass and doing a little bit of other stuff and come out here to check on the chickens, see how many eggs there was today. And when I went in to go on that side to add some feed to their feeder, that little red hen met me at the gate. So I left it open, let her run in. She's back over with the rest of the Rhode Island Reds. Then I came over here and there was one on the ground back there by the concrete blocks. So I put it in the nesting box. Maybe that'll give them the idea that's where it belongs. I'm going to just leave it there for tonight and tomorrow, and I'll pick it up tomorrow evening. And this first pen here, or the last pen, had one on the ground and one in the nesting box, and I put them both in the nesting box, and I'm going to leave them there. Hopefully it'll give the hen that's laying on the ground an idea that's where it belongs. But I did cut inside this side today, and there's feathers everywhere. That's because them tom turkeys, that biggest one was molting, I think. But either way, it seems like they might be coming back now. I don't know. But that grass there is nothing but brown. They done ate all the green off of it. So anyway, I'm gonna pause this and go show y'all what I've been working on. So every time I cut grass, this privet that takes over the edges of the property and the parts that I haven't cleared just smacks me in the face, especially this stuff right here sticking out past these bigger trees. There's an old doghouse in there too. But I brought the backhoe tractor over here. Just used a bucket and scraped it and pushed it back up in there a little bit. I mean, eventually I'm going to go much further and this cedar tree and this pine tree will come down, but it's all I'm capable of doing right now. You see, I've been pushing as this stuff comes down, whether we cut it or it breaks, back toward the ditch anyway, to fill that ditch in. And this little section here has got a pretty gnarly cedar tree growing in it with limbs everywhere and twisting and turning, and they ain't fit for nothing. And there was a couple big pine trees in here, and a couple of them died, as y'all can see right here. One of them's broke, and it was what I call a widowmaker. It was hung up in those trees. You see part of it still there. It finally rotted enough that it fell, because if I got under it with the tractor, it would have probably fallen on me. And if I tried to cut it with a chainsaw, it might have fell on me. So I just left it until it rotted. Now I got some on the ground I can push out of the way, but I went ahead and pushed a little bit of this stuff, kind of knocked it back down. And as winter comes on, this stuff dies back, I'll get out here and do more. Hopefully before next spring, I'll have this whole section, all the small stuff and the cedar, at least cut down and pushed out of here. But gain a little bit more yardage. And then the same thing kind of happens on this side. I've never cleared to the property line on this side, and it's not a whole lot of land, but it's a pretty good little piece. And this cedar tree here is the same way. It's gnarly. It's got a lot of crooked limbs that come off and twist and turn, and it's going to have to be cut down with a chainsaw, and that's going to be a big job taking that thing down and getting it out of the way. But it's on my property, and the limbs are just coming way out, interfering. So there was also metal laying here that I told y'all was going to be used for the goat shelter. I thought there was 5 sheets and needed 6, but I loaded it all up on my truck and hauled it over to the goat pen area today, and there is 5 sheets. And they're not perfect, but used metal for that would be fine. And then I had a lot of privet growing, pushing all out into the yard here, and I just pushed it back again. It's still on my property. Eventually, like I say, in the wintertime when everything's died back, I may be able to get out here and scrape the ground enough to cut it all off and clean it up. But I worked all the way down this property line, well, the front part of the property, not the back, because it was getting pretty close to my old camper, and I could run my mower through there one time without getting limbs smacked in the face. So I just kind of pushed what I could over. You see this stump, I got the root ball up. That tree will be dead now, so it'll make it easier when this stuff finishes dying for me to dig up and push over and get out of there, because I want to get all the way to that property line so that I might be able to get to a fence. And I've told y'all before, the front of it's only 8 feet past where I've normally mow, but I've got those concrete barriers right up to the edge of the line, and there's a marker here, and that's about, I don't know, 12, 15 feet. And the further you go back, the bigger the piece is. And from the edge of the berm over to the property line is about 25 feet. So it's a long pie-shaped piece. But you see how gnarly that cedar tree there. It's really, really hard. I mean, you're going to have to work, or I'm going to have to work with a chainsaw to cut these lower limbs off and get it to where either it can stay there or cut it down so that I can clean it up. I don't mind it staying on the edge of the property, but I will de-limb everything, 8 foot down so that I can cut under it and walk around it and all that. But I want to clear all the way over to the property line so I can get a string ran down and start preparing for a fence. And see, there's a little oak that was growing beside this big oak that I pushed that part of the ball up. I don't know. It'll die and I'll finish getting it in a lot of privy here. And then up at the front end and here, really right in here is where all the pine trees start. And I don't want all these pine trees. They just grown up in the 12 years I've owned this property and trying to take over. And there's a few of them that are too big for me to push with the tractor. Most of them 5 inches or smaller, basically I can push over with the tractor and work and get the root ball up and move it. But you see, this is where I used to run my underground dog fence, and I've gained a little bit of yard since then. But this privet right here was coming out, and it was making it harder and harder for me to cut to where I normally cut. And I just basically pushed it and got some of it up and pushed the rest of it over, pushing it back. So I'm to the property line there. That's just one of the few spots that I am, though. And then here. And what most people don't realize is when I built the house, we built the ground up there where the house is. If you notice up front, it looks like the ground humps up at the edge. And it does, because I graded all this dirt down and created the front yard and the house pad. We built that up a couple of feet, and we took this down over a foot. So that was a lot of work, but I wasn't living here at the time. We were just working on the property. But there's a few more little cedar trees there that were trying to come up, and another one, bigger one than I took down. Just pushing it to the line. When I get it dead, then I can once I get that hose fixed, take the claw of the backhoe and pull all that stuff out and cut it up with a chainsaw and make a big pile and burn it and get rid of it so that I can clear this line up. But I don't know if y'all can tell, but that's 16 inches from where I'm standing up to the top, and that's where we've graded. Let me get over here, maybe you could tell better. But that's where we graded this part of the property down to get dirt for over there. And it took almost 10 years for this to even get filled in with grass, because we dug down so deep. And it's still pretty thin up here, as y'all can see. But I got a lot of the privet root balls here. So that's what I'm working on. I can't push as far when I get further up here, but I tried to push some of these pines over. A couple of them are just too big, like that one there is just too big for me to push over. I'll need to cut it and then push the small stuff over and try to get up the root balls. But you see, I came up here toward my concrete barriers and pushed in and just laid these trees over. Some of them bent, some of them broke, but that'll kill them. Then I can come back and get the root ball up and start clearing back, because the property line is actually right there, and I am 1 to 2 feet on this side with the concrete barrier. So if I stay here and get cleared all the way back to that other stake, I can run a string and say, this is mine, clean it up and get it to where I can run a fence. Those pines are on that other property that I wanted to buy, and they just wanted too much for it. I don't think that 4.5 acres is worth $30,000. There, that drainage ditch that I've been filling in on my property gets, oh my goodness, 5 times wider and 5 times deeper on the back of that property. There's at least a ½ acre, if not 3/4 of an acre, that's unusable on that property. Unless you fill it in, which would take an awful lot, a big bulldozer to clear and push and all that. So that right there to me makes it not worth the 30 grand they wanted for it. So I had one of my buddies that wanted to buy it. You know, he's got his kinfolks have some small dozers and skid steers and stuff, and I've got the tractor, and I'm like, I'll help you. So he come over and looked at it, and we walked and talked, and he called the next day about it and said they told him it sold the day before. So at least that's what he told me. So I don't know, the people that had it last left a Cadillac. The first thing they did was park that Cadillac out there, and it's been left there. Now the door's open, the windshield's busted. It wasn't in that bad a shape when it was parked there, but it was abandoned. So now whoever bought this property's got to deal with that car too. Me personally, I'd roll it down in the doggone ditch back yonder, clear a path to it and cover it up. But either way, I still want a fence line down this side, or at least a clear property line so that I can maintain it. So these concrete barriers weigh about 800 pounds a piece. And I'd like to straighten them a little bit more, but it's really not necessary. But I tell you what, won't nobody drive over them. So at one time I thinned all this up. So I'll go through and make sure there's nothing there the mower won't hit, and I may take my mower up there and chop it all up, you know, raise the deck and all that good stuff. But it drops off, good Lord, almost 6 feet down to the road, which is not a bad thing to me. If the road's lower than my property, that's a benefit to me, the way I see it. But either way, and then I got this little thicket right here that goes from here to almost to the edge of the drive that I never finished thinning out. There's several little small oaks and stuff in there that I need to cut off with the chainsaw and clear out all the brush and stuff. But I'd like the county to come out and take these big trees down. I don't need them there. I'm worried that one right there might fall, hit my house one day. And it's tall enough, I believe. And it's got a big wound on the inside edge here. So I don't know if it's been struck by lightning or what, but the county guy told me one time they'd come cut it down if I wanted them to. And then that cedar tree right there is dead. It's been dead for a couple years, so it needs to come down. And I may just call the county and tell them to come take these trees down, because they're, you know, it's a hazard to my property. But other than that, if y'all take a look, I don't know, 35, 40 feet in from the front edge. It's all cut all the way back to the wood line. And then I did all that pushing and stuff afterwards to help me get where I could cut it better. And eventually I'll just keep working at it until I get it cleared up. But first thing I did was cut the chicken pens and all around them and behind it and all that. So I need to get the weed eater out and go around, but I don't think that's going to be today. It's not that bad. You don't even see the weeds growing up around the edge of the house, so it's not that bad. It's just some privet growing under the edge of that first building, and that I need to get cut down before it gets too big. But either way, I'm gonna get off here, guys, show y'all what I did on one of my days off. I took my time cutting the grass. I'll probably order new blades for it before next season starts. And the price of the blades, y'all, I don't know if y'all have priced lawnmower blades lately, but if you're like me and you do a lot of grass cutting with a big mower like I've got, last time I bought blades, they were $90, and they were $80 the time before that. Well, I looked at them a couple of days ago. They're $45 right now. So in the next week or two, I will be ordering a new set, maybe two, so I can get them at that much lower price and you know, get basically 2 sets. There's 3 blades to the set. 2 sets for the price of 1 is what I've been paying. So that'd save me some money in the long run. So I definitely will be ordering at least 1 set here pretty soon. And then I usually leave my old set on and go through the woods really good with the old set on. And when I'm done, then I'll come up and he's playing with the only one I left him. The other ones, he keeps tying around his cable, and parts of it, y'all see all this little black stuff, which I apparently missed. Hit it with the mower, I guess. But I threw all the rest of it away. I'll get him a new one next time I'm in the store. But just wanted to show y'all what I've done. It's all cut. I need to burn that pile there with the old peach tree limbs and stuff, and the dead animals, you know, the dead chickens and turkeys. And I need to move the backhoe attachment, which is really not hard. It takes 5 minutes to hook it up and less than 2 to unhook it. So it's not that bad. But I've got to weed eat around the edges of the gonna be greenhouse as well. So she's being mighty vocal. I got a friend that comes out every now and then, and he said that's a vocal cat. She meows a lot, but then when you reach down to pet her, she walks away from you. It's like, don't touch me, I just want to talk. But either way, all the animals seem to be doing fine. I appreciate you guys watching the video. Look at that. You hear it? My brother-in-law was over here a little while ago. He had borrowed my jump box for his mower, and they borrowed a level the other day, so he brought that stuff back. And he's asked me what it was, and he read on there, and I said, go ahead and grab that wire. He said, no, I don't think I will. I said, I don't believe you'll grab it but once. That stuff's hot. But before I get off here, I'm going to show y'all I did, like I said, I brought that metal over from the other edge of the property. I need to get these holes redug and get these telephone poles stood up, which I'm scared to do by myself. I definitely can't do it by myself, but I stacked it all up on top of the poles. There's 5 sheets, and that one sheet's the only one that's all dented up. The rest of them aren't. But it looks to me like they get a little bit shorter each piece. Now, it's not as bad as what's showing there, because I didn't exactly even them out on that end. But either way, it's all cut. All right, see, I got my sun hat on for cutting grass, keep the weeds and crap out of my head. But either way, I'm gonna get off here. I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for, you know, commenting, hitting the thumbs up, all that good stuff. Y'all can tell I'm dirty. But look at the shirt. Now, I don't know if that's backwards for y'all or forwards, but it's the 10 Killer YouTube meetup for 2024. I didn't get to go, but I like to support those guys because I watch a lot of their videos, and I think they're good people. So I'm looking, let me flip this. I'm looking at the scuppling vine, and I don't see it attached to that hot wire at all. Nothing's touching it. And I was told that the plants will actually not grab it, you know. So far that's been true. We'll just see how if it stays that way. I don't know, but nothing's touching that fence right now. So guys, thank you for watching my videos, subscribing, hitting the thumbs up, leaving comments, sharing when you can. All that stuff really helps grow. If you have not downloaded Rumble and made your Rumble account there, just, you know, it's free. Please do. It's a much better platform, and I'm planning on doing some more range videos with firearms and that kind of stuff. Some of them training, some of them just out there practicing, having fun. But I do appreciate you guys, and thank you for sticking with me. Y'all remember what I always tell you. Jesus Christ loves you, and so do I. Y'all be safe, be prepared. You can tell it's getting bedtime. There's not a whole lot of activity going on. Y'all be good.